shortly. Good afternoon, students. I am so excited that you are joining us for a live tour today of Albano Farms in Stamford, New York. So we're going to meet our first farmer really soon, but before we do that, I want to go over a couple things. We're really excited you're here. We want you guys to ask your questions. So remember, if you have a question that you want to ask, you can put it in our question and answer box. Ask your teacher to do it maybe for you. Now, remember, if you're joining us on Zoom, you can use that question answer box. If you're joining us on Facebook or on YouTube, on Facebook, you can use the comment section, and on YouTube, you can go ahead and just enjoy the tour. I promise we're probably going to answer your questions. As you guys can see, I have some cows already coming to join me. But we want you to ask questions. We want you to engage. Now, be paying attention. Put your listening ears on, okay? Because we're going to ask you guys to answer some questions here in just a little bit. So make sure you're paying attention to what the farmers are saying. That's new this year. We're adding some interactive questions so you guys can test your farm knowledge. Now, I don't want to make you guys wait any longer to meet our first farmer here on the farm. So, Farmer John, go ahead. Tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about your farm.
My name is John Albano. I'm the youngest of all of us, pretty much. Our farm does over little 300 cows. Right now they're being milked.
Wow, that is so cool. So you're standing in the milking parlor, right?
Yeah. Right now they're getting milked down there. Okay, all right.
That looks really cool. So you said there's 300 cows, right?
Yes, we do 300 cows.
And are those cows, how many times a day do you milk all those cows?
We milk morning, afternoon, and night. Each cow makes about 10 gallons per milking. We use dip. First we use dip to clean the tip, and then we go and wipe that off, and then we put the machines on, and then when the machine's done, we go with an after dip just to make it so cow doesn't get sick or doesn't get any bacteria or anything like that. And then the cows will be released back in the free stall, and so on. They'll eat, and then they'll come back in and do their routine again. So,
got it. Okay, so how long does it take each cow to be milked out? It looks like they're standing there really calm and comfortable.
Yeah, it takes about 10 minutes or around 10 to 20 minutes sometimes. For a whole group, it takes.
Got it. Got it. So it takes anywhere from like just a little bit per cow.
Yeah. Some finish sooner, some are slower, some are faster, depending on the cow.
That's cool. So it looks like you guys aren't milking any of those cows by hand. You have some special equipment that you're using. Now, is that equipment comfortable for those cows?
Yes. the main advantage is not to hurt the cow. So the machines just have suction cups and they just go right on, and then they squeeze it like you would with a hand, and the milk comes out, but a lot faster too. So
Got it. Got it. So this makes the process fast, but still safe and comfortable for the cows.
yes,
That is awesome. So tell us, where does all of this milk end up going? What is your milk made into?
the milk ends up going down to a processing place down the road. It it's like powder for mac and cheese. It makes into cheese, and then you got
Cool.
milk. Yeah,
So you guys are doing lots of different products. That's
yeah.
pretty neat.
Hmm.
Now, another question, looks like we're starting to have some student questions roll in, which
Okay.
is, how many cows can you milk at the same time in your parlor?
I think 36.
Got it. Got it. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the next question is, are there any calves on the farm or young cows?
Yeah. So it starts out with a calf, and then the calf will go up to our calf barn, which you'll probably see here in a little bit, and then uh, the calves go to the heifer type stage, and then the heifer stage moves in to a milking cow, and then the milking cow has their baby. Then she goes to the dry cow, and then she's back in the main barn.
Got it. So you guys are raising cows through the entire system, through their whole life cycle, it sounds like.
Yes. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. So another question just came in, which is, how old does the cow have to be before she gets milked?
Like the age of the cow, or
Yes.
like
Yeah. So about how old are the cows when they first have their very first calf and then they go to be milked?
the cow has to be maybe three, 2 years old, and then they can live up to 7 or 8. They can get pretty old for a cow.
Wow, very
So
cool. So some of your cows are 7 or 8 years old. That's amazing.
yeah, that's old for a cow. Yeah.
So we had another student asking, are cows friendly?
They're yes, they are very friendly, but some of them can be skittish. Some of them can come right up to you, let them pet them and stuff. So
Got it. So they're kind of like people. They all have different personalities.
yes. Yeah.
That makes sense. So you had mentioned that each cow is making about 10 gallons of milk each day. That is a lot.
Yeah.
Now, students, I want you to think about 10 gallons of milk per cow per day, and we're milking 300 cows here. So I think you guys could probably do some math problems, but that is a lot of milk. Now, we had another question come in, which is asking, when cows go to the parlor, do they like it? Do they like to come in and be milked?
Uh, yeah, they're comfortable, and they just they don't like to stand very long. So our main advantage is to milk them and get them out quickly as possible. Get them back in the free stall, which is where they sleep, eat, and stuff. Just don't want them standing for too long. So yeah, they're
Gotcha.
comfortable for the time being until they just don't want them standing for too long.
Got it. So we want to make sure they have a free choice, right? Where they can
Yeah.
stand or lay down or do whatever they want. That makes sense. Now, we had another question coming through, which is, what happens to the milk when it goes through the machines? And now, I think, John, if I'm correct, you guys might have like a big tank, right, that you collect it in?
Yeah. The milk goes in this little tank here, and then it gets sent up through this barn. There's a big tank down there, and when that gets filled, the milk truck comes morning time, takes the milk off, empty the tank gets washed, and then we just do the routine over and over.
Got it. That makes a lot of sense. Now, I'm sure it's pretty important. Everybody enjoys nice cold milk. And as
Yeah.
I understand it, that milk gets cooled all the way down to 35 degrees before it even leaves the farm. Is that right?
Yes, it is. The tank is specially made for that. It's thick steel, or it's thick,
Got it. Yeah.
like a walk-in freezer, pretty much.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Okay, we had another question coming in,
Okay.
which is, do your cows have names?
Uh, no, they do not have names, but they have ear tags that has a number on it. And then whoever, if they say, hey, number 5135 is limping, we know which one. We go on the computer. That's like that, like just on right on their ear. It's just a
Got it. So
number.
that's how we keep track of them. Kind of like a driver's license number.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, you
Yeah.
shared so much cool information with us, John, but I think it's actually time for us to go to our next area of the farm to go see the free stalls you were talking about where the cows live. So, for my
Okay.
students out there, you're going to get some questions that I'd like for you to try to answer, some matching questions, while we head off to our next section of the farm. Okay, students, I hope that you're working hard on those matching questions. Remember, if you're joining us on Zoom, you can just do this interactive poll right on your screen. If you're joining us one of our other ways, still answer the questions because we'll show you the answers. In the meantime, let's catch up on a couple questions that might have been asked over the break. So we did have a question come in. Oh, let's see. We're checking out our answers here. It's just about that time. We'll hold off. Fabulous. Hopefully you guys got most of those questions correct. We're so excited to move on to our next section of the tour. And this time we have another member of our farm family joining us. So welcome back, Farmer Chris. So Chris, tell us a little bit about yourself before we jump right into those cows behind you.
So I'm Chris Albano. John's my brother. I'm 20 years old. This is our dairy farm. So here the cows are standing behind us eating. This is where they eat. They have food 24 hours a day. What their feed's made up of is corn, grass, and grain. We harvest all the corn here on the farm. They also sleep in here. They sleep on sand bedding. They have food, water, and a place to sleep whenever they want. It's kind of like a buffet. Whenever they want to get up and go eat, they go eat. Whenever they want to lay down, they can go lay down.
Oh, cool. Well, hey, Chris, it looks like our cow cam is actually checking out your giant feed mixer. So why don't you tell us a little bit about how you make the cow feed every day?
So we start feeding the cows at 4 in the morning. We'll fill this mixer that you're seeing here, and it's got two big mixer screws, kind of like you do if you have like a food blender in your house, and it mixes all the food together. And it also has scales on it, so we know how much of each ingredient we're putting in. So we know what the cows are going to be getting fed for that day. So it's the same every day. And it'll mix it all together so they can't pick the grain out of the rest, kind of like you got to eat your vegetables with your candy and stuff.
Oh, got it. So the cows can't pick out only the good parts. They got to eat every little bit.
Yep, you got to eat their fruits and vegetables.
Got it. That makes sense. So now that we've seen that pretty cool item, can you show us maybe what are the ingredients in a cow's feed? I know I have to eat, like we said, fruits and vegetables and maybe some protein, but what do cows actually eat?
So the cow's main ingredient to their diet is corn. It's chopped up. We harvest this in the fall, and then we put it in a pile so we could feed it all winter long. Um, it's we don't just take the kernels, we take the whole plant and chop it up into little pieces. And then the next ingredient is grass. We harvest this all summer. This is chopped up into a bunch of small pieces, and it's fermented. That's why it's not green. So it's pretty much cooked for the cows in a pile, so it'll last all winter. And then next is the grain. This is what the cows like the most. This is like their candy. It has all the minerals and everything they need in it. It's made up of corn for the most part. And this is the smallest ingredient, but the most important.
Wow, very cool. That is absolutely awesome. So our cow cam is showing us some of those awesome beds that your cows lay in. And did you say that they lay on sand beds?
They lay on sand beds, so it's kind of like the cows are at the beach all the time. They're very comfortable. They get new sand twice a week, so it's fresh for them. And we also rake it out, so it's flat when they come back from milking.
Oh my gosh. So that's like having someone come in and make your bed every day. That sounds pretty nice. Very cool. So, can you tell us a little bit, how big are the cows that we're seeing?
So the cows are about 1,200 pounds. That's about average.
Gosh. Wow, that's incredible. Now, how tall are those cows if they're 1,200 pounds?
So the cows are about 5 feet tall, so they're a little shorter than a human.
Got it. Got it. That makes sense. Okay, now, if our cows are that big, how much food does a cow need to eat every single day?
So every day, a full-grown cow eats 100 pounds of feed a day, and they'll drink a bathtub full of water every day.
Oh my gosh, that's a lot of feed and water. But as I understand it, you guys work with a professional to help make their diets up so they utilize all that food and really use it well. Is that true?
Yeah, so we have somebody called the nutritionist. They come in twice a week or every 2 weeks. They look at what we're feeding the cows. They test the feed that we're giving them, and they'll adjust it so to make sure they're getting everything they need in their diet, to make sure we got the healthiest and the most amount of milk we can get.
Oh my gosh. That's incredible. So they have someone just looking at their diets to make sure that they eat healthy. Now, we had another question coming in, which was, do your cows ever go outside or outside the barn?
So our cows don't go outside. We keep them inside the barn to keep them out of the weather, make sure they have a cool place to lay down, a dry place to lay down. They don't have to travel for food or water in here too far. And it's a lot more consistent building. I mean, the temperature year round is almost the same, and cows love consistency. That's where they do their best.
That makes a lot of sense. So that barn helps keep them comfortable no matter what the weather is doing outside. That's awesome. So we had another question come in, which is, do you have a favorite cow?
Yes, I do have a favorite cow. We've had her for a long time. Her number's number 5. She's a big white cow.
Very, very cool. Now, we also were asking um, if how can you tell, I guess, if a cow is hungry or tired? And maybe I'll ask that a little differently, Chris. Can you tell us a little bit about how you monitor your cows to make sure that they're staying healthy?
So they have collars on them that we could track how many steps they take a day, and it's kind of like a Fitbit for a person. If they really drop off in steps or something, we know she might be getting sick or something's going on. So we'll put her in a pen and we could take a closer look at her. We have the vet here every 2 weeks, so if she's real bad, we could have the vet take a look at her and make sure she's on track.
That is very, very cool. It sounds like you guys are utilizing a lot of good technology on the farm here to help you take care of your cows.
Yeah.
So,
We use a lot of technology to make the place most efficient as possible. The barn is run on a weather station, so we can always keep the temperature the same, and that's just a piece of technology we use.
that's amazing. Now, we've had some questions as to where are all the calves? So maybe you could just tell us, we're going to see them at our next stop, right?
Yep, they'll be at the next stop, and they're in a barn that's fed by robots, and we'll see them soon.
Oh, that's very cool. So we have a couple more questions coming in, which was, we've talked a lot about what our cows are eating and how we're feeding them to stay healthy. But somebody asked, is it true that cows have 4 stomachs?
Yes, it is true that cows have 4 stomachs.
That is really cool. Now, and I would imagine they would need a little extra power in their bellies to digest all those plants, right?
Yes.
Okay, we had another student question coming in, which is, when does a cow get her ear tag, or when do they get their number?
So they get their number as soon as they're born, kind of like we do when we're first born, and that's kind of their name. So we know we can communicate with each other if she's getting sick, and we know what cow we're talking about. And we can always go find her by her number, just like we do with our name.
Got it. Now, we had another question asking, are cows the only animals on your farm?
We have pigs, chickens, goats, donkeys, and sheep too.
Oh my gosh, you've got a little bit of everything on the farm.
Yes.
Now, you had mentioned to us a little bit about how you grow a lot of the feed for your farm. Can you tell us how many acres do you crop to grow all that feed that you feed your cows?
So we do about 2,500 acres to feed all the cows.
Okay, so 2,500 acres. I don't really know what that would even look like. Can you tell us what's a good example for our students for how big 2,500 acres is?
It's about 2.5 state parks.
Oh, 2.5 times. And I think, is it 2.5 times Central Park?
Central parks, yes.
Oh, very cool. So for our students joining us from the city, that's a pretty good estimate of how many acres the farm is taking care of here to feed those cows. That is so cool. So I think it's about time for us to go see our next stop on the farm. Now that we've seen how our cows are milked and we've seen how they're living when they're not being milked, which looks pretty darn comfortable to me, I think it's time that we go see the calves. What do you think?
Sounds good.
Okay, students, you're going to get another set of questions to be answered. So be sure, we hope you were using your listening ears and can guess or use your learning that you just learned from Farmer Chris about each of these questions. Okay, students, the answers are coming your way. You can see how you did. Great job, students. So now we're going to head back over to our calf barn. Oh my gosh, I think we're seeing some of the smallest residents here on the farm. And we have one more farmer to share with you guys. So Farmer Frank, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Frank. My sons are Chris and John, and we operate Albano Farms.
Wonderful. So Frank, as I understand it, you do the most work with the calves here that we're seeing behind you. So how many calves are here on the farm?
Usually about 40 to 45 calves at a time.
Awesome. So what does that mean? How many calves are born each day here on the farm then?
Usually on the farm, we have about one calf born every day, but sometimes it could be up to 6 or 7, depending on the time of year.
Wow, that's awesome. Now we see the calves coming up to a feeder or a robot. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So each calf has a round button in their ear, and it's an RFID tag. When they go to the feeder, the computer knows which calf can drink how much. It mixes the milk up, warms it up, gives it out to the calf, and it takes the body weight of each calf at every feeding. So we know if the calves are gaining weight the way we want them to or not.
Very cool. Okay, so how much weight should a calf gain each day? What's the goal?
We're looking for about 2.5 pounds per calf per day.
Wow, that is so much. Okay, so how many pounds is a calf when it's born then?
A calf is born like anywhere from 80 to 100 pounds when they're first born.
Oh my gosh. So that's a pretty big animal right from the beginning.
Yeah.
Now, we had another question come in, which is what type of cows and calves are these? So what breed of cows and calves are these?
The black and white ones that you see here, they're Holsteins. And then we have maybe about 10 Jerseys on the farm too. They're a smaller breed of cow.
Got it. Very, very cool. Now we had another question come in, which is, are those all girl calves or are there some boy calves too?
These are all girls here.
All right. The next question we had then, and hopefully you can explain this to us, is why are the calves in a group separate from their cows?
We do that to so we know what the calves are eating every day, and we can also isolate them from certain diseases that might be passed down from the older cows to the younger cows. And also, the older cows, they're big animals. Some of them are 16 to 1800 pounds. They can move around and hurt these small calves also.
Okay. Got it. So it's mostly for health and safety then. That's what I'm
Yes.
hearing.
Yeah.
Got it. Got it. And those calves, I don't know, they look pretty darn content to me. They seem to be enjoying each other's company, so you keep them in groups. Now, do they stay in these groups for the rest of their life here on the farm?
Well, in this particular barn, they'll stay here till they're about 3 months old. And then they're not getting milk anymore. They're onto a solid feed, and then they move to another barn into other groups with the same calves.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, I know when they're first born, they need a special type of milk, right? Can you explain that to us?
When the calf is first born, within the first 12 hours, we feed the mother's milk straight to the calf. It's called colostrum, and the colostrum has a lot of antibodies and vitamins and minerals that's real crucial to keeping the calf healthy and getting it off to a good start.
Awesome. So you guys definitely want to make sure you know that the calf has drank every last drop of that.
Yeah, we try to get a gallon of colostrum in each calf as soon as we can after birth.
Got it. So, okay, so we talked about how much the adult cows are eating per day. Now, how much are these calves drinking in milk per day?
Most of these calves here are drinking about 2.5 gallons of milk every day.
Oh my gosh, that seems like a lot, but I guess they're pretty big animals, so that probably makes sense.
Yeah.
So now, can you we had a question come in, Frank, actually about your calves, which is how do you decide which calf gets which number?
It's all in numerical order. So the next calf born will get the next higher number up.
Oh, that makes sense. You keep them in order so you can keep them all straight, right?
Yeah, yeah. We long time ago we started at number one, and now we're up to like 2,550. So
Oh my gosh, that's pretty cool. So we had another question come in from our viewers, which is there's a few calves with wearing some very stylish attire in there. Can you explain to us why some of the calves have jackets on?
yeah, when as soon as the fall weather starts coming in, and we start wearing where we have to wear a sweatshirt, we put they're called calf blankets. We put blankets on the calves to help them stay warm. Also, they get they're babies. They get a little young. They get a little cold.
Got it. So before they've had a chance to get that full fur coat on, we help them out a little bit.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, another question that we had come in is besides milk, you said the calves get transitioned to solid food, but I'm sure they're also offered water all the time, right?
Yeah, and actually they have free choice water in here. It's in the there's a blue water, but that water is also heated a little bit. The calves like to drink the warmer water, like kind of like milk is warm.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Now, it looks like these cows have very fluffy bedding underneath them. What are they actually laying on in that pen?
There's a little bit of straw in here. There's hay, and then also we use kiln dried shavings, sawdust.
Got it. Now, we had, of course, kind of a similar question to the cows is do the calves ever go outside?
No, they stay right in here. The sides of the barn are all automated, so if it gets cold out, the sides will automatically close, and if it gets too warm in the barn, they'll automatically open to try and keep the calves on a very even temperature and keep them comfortable.
Wow, that's awesome. So we had a couple other questions come in, Frank, that I think you'll be able to answer for us, which was when was the farm started?
Our family farm, it was started in 1960 by my grandfather.
Wow, that's amazing. And how many cows were you milking when the farm first started?
Well, when we first started, we had 57 animals total.
Wow,
It was
so it's changed a
quite a bit
lot.
smaller. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we had another question, which was how does the calf learn to drink from the robot?
There's an individual pen over on the side when they're first born. We will keep the calf in that pen for maybe 2 to 3 days, and we have a big baby bottle that we use to get them used to drinking. And then when we feel that the calf has the hang of it pretty good, then we put them in the group pen, and we'll actually move them to the feeder the first couple times by hand until they figure it out. Then once they figure it out, they know how to go on their own.
Got it. So we had another question come in, and this is kind of pertinent to some weather around the US right now, but what happens if it's really rainy or really stormy or something else, maybe a weather event is going on?
You mean like in as far as the calves in the barn here?
Yeah, and the cows in general. How are we
Oh,
making sure? I mean, you've shared with us too that these cows and calves stay inside, so I'm assuming they're pretty well protected from any weather.
yeah. Yeah, they some of the cows could go inside and outside on their own, but most of them they stay right in the barns where it's comfortable and dry, and it's a pretty protected environment.
Got it. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, we had, of course, another question from one of our students, which is, do you have a favorite cow on the farm?
Um, yeah, yeah, I do. She's actually a young one. It's 2189.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So, another another question we had come in just for Farmer Frank is what happens when one of these calves or even a cow, what happens when maybe they do get sick or aren't feeling their best? What do you guys usually do? I know Farmer Chris talked about it a little, but maybe explain it for our students one more time.
It's almost no different than what we do with people. We have a veterinarian, and if we happen to see one that we think is a little sick or something, we call them up. They'll come out here to the farm. They pay us a visit, and they'll check the calf over and see if maybe she needs some medicine or some doctoring or whatever she thinks it needs to get it back going again.
That's awesome. Okay. We are coming up towards the end of our tour, but we have some more questions for our students. So students, we're going to give you a few minutes to answer questions about these calves. Go ahead and work on your answers. And while you do, if you have any last questions for our farmers here, we'll make sure that we get to ask those after you guys do our matching set. Great job, students. Okay, Farmer Frank, we got a couple more questions that have come in that we'll answer before we finish up for our tour today. So one of the questions was, how long do cows and calves sleep?
Oh, we actually on the cows we put monitors on them to track that, almost like a Fitbit. But a lot of cows will sleep like 12, 13 hours a day. They like a
Wow.
lot of rest.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense. And finally, we have the question of what happens to all the poop? Where does it all go?
We have a tank that we store it in. It gets filled twice a year, and then we use it out on the fields as fertilizer. We spread it with trucks and tractors.
That's so cool. So you guys make sure nothing goes to waste and that it's all recycled.
Yep, yep. It all gets put back to good use.
That's pretty great. All right. I promise, last question, Farmer Frank, which is what is your favorite dairy product to enjoy?
Oh, I like ice cream.
Ice cream it is. Well, thank you so much for having us on the farm, Farmer Frank. We are so grateful we got the opportunity to see it today. And our students, I know, absolutely enjoyed it. Now, where else, though, can our students find more information about your farm?
has a Facebook, Instagram.
Wonderful. So we can watch you on social media.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Farmer Frank and Farmer John and Farmer Chris, for helping us out today on the tour. Now, students, we are so glad that you joined us today here at Albano Farms. Don't forget, we have 2 more opportunities to join virtual farm tours. That's right. We have another tour on October 14th and one more tour November 21st. Remember, those are completely different farms, totally new tours. So be sure to go and register for those right after this. Save your spot. We hope that you've enjoyed the tour today. Be sure to take our couple of quiz questions here so we can hopefully continue to make the tours better and more enjoyable for you. But thank you for joining us today. Have a great weekend.